Good morning. All right, today we're going to be replacing the front air struts on my 2006 LR3. I have been, for the past couple weeks, I get home in the evening, let it sit, come out in the morning, and my front is dropped. What I've been trying to do is figure out where the leak might be or where the problem might be, whether it be a sensor, a blocker, or a leak in the strut itself. At first, I thought it was the front blocker, valve blocker was the problem. So I went ahead and ordered one and replaced that last week, and I was still having a problem. So it wasn't the blocker. Not a big deal. It was only about a $50 repair. So pretty easy to do. So to help determine whether it's a strut or a sensor is you can take the fuse out of the box, remove the one here. It's also a 20, a yellow, I believe, the third one down. That controls all your air suspension. Remove that when you turn your car off. And if your car drops, then it is not a sensor, it is an actual leak. And as you can see, my front passenger side has dropped overnight. So it is the strut. Pretty sure. Gonna go ahead and replace both left and right struts. What you're gonna need, the tools, 15, 21, 24, and I have a 15 socket drive with an adjustable bit, because a couple tips in doing this, where this comes into play. The strut has three, let me show you on here. The top of the strut, 3 bolts. The inner bolt that sits, if you're on the passenger side, the inner bolt that sits towards the engine. On the driver's side, this inner bolt sits towards the engine. It is really hard to reach from working on the outside. I'm going to do the passenger side first. But once I remove the tire, then you'll be able to see the 2 bolts are pretty easy to reach. The third bolt is actually easier to reach from inside here. So to do that, you want to go ahead and remove your engine cover. I've already done that. And down here, let's see if I can pull these 2 hoses out of the way. Got to remove this heat shield. It's simple, 1 screw on top, and it'll simply just pop right out. So let's go ahead and do that. Just simply pull it right out. So, with that out of the way, now let's see. Put these 2 up. And then right there you see the third nut. And also you can see a little bit towards the right is where the air comes in to the strut. So we're going to remove that nut from the top here. All right. All right, so let's go ahead and do that. 50 millimeter angled bit extension. Pull those hoses out of the way. All right. Put it on. Just that easy. All right. Cool. I went ahead and loosened the lugs on my wheel already. Let's go ahead and get this jacked up. All right. Now, here's the old strut. At the top, you can see one screw here, one screw here, and then the air there. So, tip number 2, you want to go ahead and remove this inner shroud that sits here, because when you're removing these 3 nuts, and then when you remove the bottom of the lower control arm with the 24 and 21, the strut needs to come down a little bit so you can reach the nut on the air intake, the 12 millimeter on the air intake hose, to unscrew that nut. If you don't remove the shroud, see the air intake hose is clipped here. You can't pull this down to get enough room because of this lip here. You can't get your wrench up in there to get the 12 millimeter bolt off. So remove the shroud, then you can access and remove that clip there, and you have all this extra play to be able to lower the strut down out of this housing so you can reach that 12 millimeter, because you can't reach it from the top here. You have to actually pull it down through. All right. All right, 15 millimeter on the nut. So I'm going to take my 24 and make it a little longer so give more leverage to break it. Just simply put the open end through the closed end of the larger one. Get it set on there, and then you have that extra leverage. Break. Get it started. The other one. Those weren't too bad. And you just take that off. Number 1. this reach around. So you can reach through the backside and go and loosen off. It was almost all the way off, so I just reached through. Because with that shroud gone, then you can actually access with your hand the backside to go ahead and remove that third nut from the backside because it's nice and loose. It's still connected to the lower control arm. So let's go ahead. So what I'm going to do now, I don't want the strut to just drop down freely because the air hose is still connected. So I don't want to put that much, I don't want to pull that much weight on that air hose. So I'm going to take my jack and go ahead and support it. The bottom of the strut. Nuts off. Alright, so support it. It's easy to just pull that right out. Perfect. Alright, strut is completely disconnected from the strut housing and the control arm. So let's slowly lower this down. There we go. Alright, there. So you can see now, I lowered this down just enough where I can access the nut for the air hose. And I have all this play now that I can actually pull down and access that nut. All right. Hey, it's stuck on there. Thing is crazy on there. So if I'm going to round the edges. I'm afraid I am rounding the edges. I have no idea why that's so tight. All right. Be right back. Whoever put this nut on so tight, I can't get it off, and I feel like I'm stripping it. Don't want to do that. I need that air hose. I don't care about the nut. I care about the hose. The new strut comes with a new nut, a connector. So I don't care about destroying this one. Something like that. There we go. Awesome. There. Got it. All right. Old strut is out. It's very messed up connection. So now you can pull the air hose out. Why was this so? Huh. Oh. All right. So with it out here, I can actually see it and go ahead and take that old fitting off. There. There. All right. All right. Air hose is ready to go. We'll just put it right down through the hole that it goes into. Give a little bit of room. Let's move. All right, let's move the jack back up underneath where the bottom of the strut's going to go. New strut down in the middle of the control arm, sitting in the jack. All right, awesome. Everything's kind of lined up to where it should go. Let's go ahead and put the air supply hose. Okay, here's the top of the new strut. The new air supply connector has this piece of plastic. Just simply pull that out. You're going to pull that out and we're going to insert the supply hose. I'm going to have to set my phone down to do this. It is a two-hand operation, but you just simply insert this down and it catches inside. All right. A nice tug. Make sure it caught real good. We are in business. All right, awesome. Now, all we have to do is jack it. We're going to go ahead and raise this on up. Get the holes. Bolts lined up into the holes. That one on loosely. That one on loosely. You can reach up behind. This one on loosely. There. Awesome. Now, all I gotta do is tighten those up. Make sure there's no obstruction when the hose isn't cranked or caught between the strut and the housing, and it's coming out freely at the top. All right, I'm gonna go up top and go ahead and tighten on the hoses out the way. Top of the nut. All right, nice and tight. One finish tightening the front too. We're gonna do the same thing. Work it. With leverage. All right. The upper part of the air strut is now complete. Let's go ahead and put the bottom part in the control arm. So now we got to jack the control arm up to where the holes will line up from the control arm to the bottom of the new strut. So nice and simple. We're just going to place the jack with the bottom part of the control arm. All right, now you just start jacking it up. All right, just that easy. All the way through. Nut on the back side. Don't need the jack. '21, '24. There we go. All right. New air strut is in. Well, we see that the repair was done. Looks like it's going up and down just fine, and I'm very happy with the results. So, all right, until the next repair, take care.